What's up, Atlanta? I am Jeff Rawlins, and this is Atlanta Sports Raw, your one-stop shop for all things Atlanta sports. We talk Falcons, we talk Hawks, we talk Atlanta United, and we talk Braves. It is our first episode, which is an amazing thing. We just decided to start this page for all you Atlanta sports fans and all ATLians around the world. We're going to be talking our Hawks-Philly preview and predictions, and let's jump right into it. So, first of all, some big takeaways from the Knicks series. The Hawks closed it out 4-1 in 5 games at MSG on Wednesday night, and the Knicks were pretty much just overmatched every game. It should have been a sweep. The Knicks had maybe 2 good halves of basketball through all 5 games and just could not hold it together. They were just overmatched. It's very clear that Julius Randle is not a first option on a championship team. And so they tried to get into the Hawks' heads. They tried to be physical and to be stupid with their fouls. And it just didn't work. Trey did not rattle. The Hawks continued to put up points and to play a really good defense against the Knicks offense that was never going to put up much points, but they never fazed them. And here they are in round 2 against Philly. The second big takeaway from the Knicks series is that the Hawks really didn't play very well in the first half of games. They shot horrible. They had a lot of turnovers, and we were still leading in the first half of all 5 games. So, which is a big thing. If Bogey and Gallo shoot better than they were, then we'll get into this in a second. But I don't feel like Philly has enough numbers without Embiid to keep up with the Hawks. So let's dive right into what we're going to see at Philly. The first game is Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time in Philadelphia. And obviously the big news is Joel Embiid. Will he be available? Doc Rivers says they are optimistic that we will see him. But a torn meniscus on a guy that size is just not it's not an ideal situation. Even if he is back, he won't be 100%, and that is good news for the Hawks. Obviously, you want to get an opponent's best effort, but it is the playoffs. You got to have some depth, and if one player is out, that shouldn't affect your whole team. But in this case, it does. When Embiid is on the court, they are a top 5 offense, and when they're not, they are pretty horrible without Embiid on the floor. So yeah, let's jump into projected lineups. I don't see much change for the Hawks as far as what they went with all 5 games. In the Knicks series, it's going to be Trey, Bogdanovich, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, and Clint Capella. Those should be the 5. And for Philly, it all depends on Embiid. If he's not in, which I don't expect him to be in the first game, and he might not be in game 2, what they went with game 5 against the Wizards was Ben Simmons at 5, Steph Curry, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, and Matisse Thybulle. That is if Embiid is out. If he's not, it's Thybulle out and Embiid in. So let's start on the side of the court when Atlanta is on offense. Basically, it boils down to how do they stop the pick and roll? That is Atlanta's offense. They don't ISO a lot unless it's Trey. And the Knicks did find some success trapping Trey at the point of attack. And that helped when Bogey and Herter and Gallo couldn't shoot the ball very well. But especially if Embiid isn't in, they just don't have a big enough body to deal with Clint Capella in that pick and roll. Trey can find him, with the pass off, or he can go in with the floater. If they don't switch, Trey can pass it off to one of the wings. It's just not a good scenario. This Hawks offense has so many weapons, and the pick and roll just fits it so perfectly. But obviously, Ben Simmons is, a great defender. Are you going to put him at the point of attack with Trey all the time? Capella will just eat you up at the baseline. So other than that, Philly was a top 10 defense throughout the year. I mean, they're going to be, they're going to be able to stop the Hawks, but I feel like it's going to be a higher scoring than it was throughout the Knicks series. I actually think the Knicks have better perimeter defenders than Philly does. If Atlanta moves the ball well and shoots well, then I don't think they can stop us. Atlanta, without Embiid on the floor, is just taller than Philly. There are a lot of good matchups inside with Capella and Collins, and I really think Hunter is going to play a lot more minutes in this series. He matches up well with the smaller Philly wings, and we can see him and Collins out on the perimeter getting some dump offs, and as long as they're able to shoot, we shouldn't really have a problem. Collins could also play with pick and roll. We've seen that a lot with him and Herter, and when we get someone inside like that, it's usually easy pickings for Trey or for the dish out. Let's talk about Philly when they're on offense. Ben Simmons with Embiid out is going to be the main ball handler. Him or Curry will bring it down the floor. It'll probably be DeAndre Hunter on Simmons most of the time. He handled Julius Randle and Derrick Rose at times. Basically, whoever was scoring, Hunter switched to. What came up really big against the Knicks was they couldn't hurt Trae Young, who's obviously the worst defender on the Hawks, because they had Capella shading him pretty much the whole time. If they try to pick and roll, Trae stayed with the pick, the roller, and Capella was there shading on the inside man. And if they ISO him, I don't think that they have enough shooting besides Curry to really hurt the Hawks. I mean, Simmons is a good scorer. He's going to get his. But if if the Hawks hold him to those mid-range shots that are, if he's shooting 30 to 40% on those, we'll take that all day. And obviously Steph is going to get his. But, if we can contest his three-point shots, they're not going to shoot 60% from the floor. And if they don't, I don't see them really being able to keep up with the Hawks on offense. I see it being 3 or 4 very close games and maybe even one blowout. But without Embiid, it's very tricky for Philly to keep up. Now, while he is on the court, they are just light years more improved than or better than when he's not. Obviously, he's one of the top 5 players in the league, in my opinion. But with my final predictions, here we go. So I think the Hawks take this in 6 games. I think they have enough weapons on offense that Philly just won't be able to keep up. I think it's going to be higher scoring affairs, probably in the 120 to 130 kind of range. What it was, the Hawks didn't get above 110 in all the Knicks series. I think they take game 1 without Embiid, and then it's chalk the rest of the way. I think the home team wins out, and the Hawks will take it in 6, finishing out in Atlanta, and we'll move on to play either the Bucks or the Nets, and they'll be in the Eastern Conference Finals, which would be a huge, huge thing. On this run with Nate McMillan, I was always saying that if we could win, take it to Game 7 in the first round, I think that would be a great accomplishment for this Hawks team that's still so young, but has a great balance of veteran experience, but a lot of young players that has not been in the playoffs before. But after what I saw in New York, I mean, they were just better. Obviously, Philly's a different animal in the stretch where Nate McMillan was the coach. or when Nate McMillan took over, Philly was the best record in the NBA with the Hawks. I think they were 35-16 in that time in the regular season. So it's going to be a close one, but I think the Hawks just have the weapons to put it out, and we'll be going to the Eastern Conference Finals. That is my official prediction. It's going to be a really fun series, and we'll be coming with more game breakdowns as the series goes on. And this has been a really fun first episode. But that's it for today, guys, and we'll see you next time. Peace out, ATL.